It's just so small.
Where it just jettisoned.
Hey there, this is the Small Stuff Podcast. My name is Kyle Roebuck. This is the intro. Let's start the show. What was that you were saying about drunk middle-aged white bitches?
They will molest
It was just
you.
really interesting.
They will molest you more than anybody on earth.
Like I don't know what in the white privilege they have, but like they'll like grab your arm and they like squeeze and they're like, "Oh, you must get so much exercise doing this job," and then they like rub your lower back and
It's
I'm like,
really uncomfortable.
And their husband's
it
right
does
next
happen.
to them, and they just something about hitting around 40.
in that 40 to 55 range.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on. Like
Start teaching them how to throw axes, and they immediately think that they have a right to like just grope you.
Mm-hmm. One of the guys there, Sean, he literally, a woman threatened to slap his ass, and she went on to slap his ass 5 times within the hour that she was there, and he was like, "Why does she keep doing this to me?" I was like, "I don't know, man." I was like, these older white women, I just think they can do whatever they want.
If the roles were reversed.
Welcome back to the Small Stuff Podcast. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Before we jump in, make sure you're following Small Stuff Podcast on all social media platforms that we're on. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the YouTube channel, comment, like the videos. Someone watch them, please. Share the podcast with anybody you think might be interested in it. Today, we've got Bryton and Josh. We're talking about Multiverse of Madness again because they couldn't be here on the first time we talked about it, and I just wanted to talk to everybody that I really wanted to talk to about it.
We just really want to prove Skylar wrong. We want to correct all the
No.
I had the
I know,
Rona.
you guys, yeah. You guys were sick.
Yeah.
Were you actually I know you were dying. Were you dying?
No.
Did it hit you hard?
No,
But
I
you
had
were
it.
positive.
I had it like a day and a half.
Yeah.
And
It was rough for us when we got it earlier this year. It was but it was only like it was a short amount of time though, like that. But it was like I mean, this, getting hit with a car doesn't take long. It's like that.
Well, this is my second time having it. The first time was in 2020, and it doesn't compare to how bad that was. That was horrific, like just horrible. But this was as bad as the flu.
and
I wouldn't know. I never had the flu.
and this was a real evasive bastard because like so many negative tests came out before, like Amber got tested negative, I tested negative before we even found out we were positive.
My first was positive, but my fiance, hers was negative, and she went on to take. It was her 5th test. About 4 days later, before she ever got a positive, she went to the urgent care or emergency room, whatever she went to. I can't remember. But the doctor told her she was like, "No, you've got it. You got COVID.
Just give it a couple more days.
Yeah."
And take another test.
So it was rough though. But we're back.
I feel like that's better.
It
Usually
is.
it casts a really bad.
It also makes making thumbnails so much easier because half the time you
I
got
look
your hat
angry.
the other way and you're like this, and I'm like, I literally have to scrub through an hour and a half of footage to find one time where you like look up and you're like, and I'm like, perfect. I just watched.
That'll do.
I spent 20 minutes finding this image, but it'll do.
Why don't you get everybody to like pose for one? Like,
Because I don't have the forethought to do that.
Because we've already mentioned this to Kyle, I think at least 2 other times that we're like, why don't you?
You know what's absolutely insane? You guys could just lie to me at this point. And I'd be like, fuck, I guess so. I guess you did say that. I don't remember this at all.
I know we told you at least once, and I think maybe I told Bria once.
This isn't a
could've
bit,
been-
by the way.
it
Like, I just
could've
suck
been-
at remembering things.
It could have. The other one probably could have been Bria because I think I told Bria because like she did
maybe.
I did a thumbnail. I did tell you once though.
Okay.
But
All right.
I'm thinking
Whoa.
the second time it may have been me telling Bria because like they all like hunch over like this.
Yeah.
And I was
It's
like,
comfortable.
okay. And she's like, well, I just want fun, interesting thumbnails. I'm like, all right, well, if you want a fun, interesting thumbnail, look at the camera and go, Bryton, pay attention. And then I'll cut that. I was like, other than that, I can't do anything for you. I have to just pick what I get from the video.
It's also easier and clearer if you just take pictures instead of getting it from video too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I just need one.
You know what?
One quick just.
I mean, you're a photographer, you know this.
Yeah. We'll do it that way. We'll do it that way when I can pay Bryton to just sit here. And he's like, whoa, guys, don't go anywhere. Hold on, we got to get something. I was like, fuck, see, that's why you're here. That's why you're here.
In the room.
I suck at remembering the shit. Guess what? Like, I started doing the Polaroids on the wall of every guest, and I got 7 guests in. But there were 15 while I got these 7. I just forgot a bunch of times, and then I was like, yeah, this is stupid. I just gave up.
Yeah, the one time you actually did one was the last time that I was out sick.
Right.
And you got one of Josh and
right
not
there,
me.
yeah. Yep.
So, such bullshit.
Yeah. And half the time it didn't work. And I didn't want to sit here with the people for 15 minutes while the photo developed. And I was like, yeah, we'll just see if it works or not. So there's 3 that you can't really see who it is because the flash just lit me perfectly and didn't light them at all.
Yeah. That top right.
Yeah. That's Jeremy Spingeman.
That's like a horrible selfie.
He's not a dark skinned fella. It's that dark in the background. You can't see him at all.
A really good one of Dontavius, though. I mean, you're not in it, so maybe that's part of the good reason.
Oh. Yeah, that's a cool one. That one I took with the vintage camera. That one, I think. Yeah, it was that.
Okay, well, let's get off photos, I guess.
Sorry.
Maybe we should, roll on with what we're supposed to be talking about.
Maybe we'll cut this and put it at the top of the episode. Hey, look, we're talking about Multiverse of Madness in this, but you're going to have to skip ahead to Bryton, insert time here. You're going to have to skip ahead to there to get to it because we talk about random shit before that. Anyway, go ahead and skip. Okay, so now that everyone's joined us, what did we think about Multiverse of Madness?
Was that a bit? Because I'm probably not going to do that.
Now it's a bit. What did we think? Overall thoughts, real quick.
I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Go, you want?
Nope, go ahead. I was just going to agree, just be like...
So Canadian.
Yeah, really good. And then explain. But yeah, you're good.
Oh, yeah, really good. No, I loved it. There were tiny things I didn't like. And there were things that I wanted it to have that it didn't. So it wasn't what I've been saying for over a year that I thought it was going to be a version of House of M from the comics. Mm-hmm. And it was. It was just very loose. It mixed.
That's what they usually do.
Very much. So I didn't expect it to be straight up. I mean, we don't even have X-Men yet, so it couldn't be a literal story. I just expected it to be a little bit more on the nose than it was. Mm-hmm. But I can't complain about what I got because I loved it. Pretty much every second of it. 99% of that movie was near perfection.
We'll talk about that 1%.
Skylar did bring up a really, really cool thing.
What's that?
That I think is important since you brought up X-Men is what I didn't even think about this. I was like, that would be really cool. Is if Wanda at the end had said something we'd mentioned about her maybe saying more mutants and bringing them all in. Yeah. But he'd mentioned that'd be really cool if she had said she had originally was the one who blipped them out of existence. And then
that's just why we don't know.
She brought them back in at the end of Multiverse of Madness of being and then all of a sudden all of these images of the Avengers fighting, you end up seeing X-Men in the background because she just made everyone forget, even the audience. That'd be,
right.
I was like, that's such a great way to retcon because I think the comics have done that so many times where it's just yeah, that person was there. Hell, there's an X-Men. There's one of the X-Men is literally his superpower is everybody just forgets he exists. So he's been at every major battle that has ever happened. But as soon as you take your eyes off of him, he just doesn't exist to you anymore.
I think even comic book lovers who are used to that kind of shit, I think even they'll go, okay, all right, okay. Yeah. Because that would be, I'm going to go, all right, I know what you're doing. That's fine. Because I can connect the dots.
Yeah.
But still, try harder. It is a good idea. Mm-hmm. It would work. I agree. And I think it would be cool. To tie it in with the comic books. But as far as a movie franchise goes, I don't know if it's gonna, maybe that's what they do. I mean,
we already know that the X-Men exist in other multiverses now because we have Professor X. And, you can't use Patrick Stewart and even though the X-Men were never mentioned. I mean, that pretty much tells you that the X-Men were in that universe.
What if they were just like? What if they were just?
He was like classic X-Men.
Yeah.
What if they were just like
green suit,
right.
gold hover chair?
What if they're like
the music?
He's not a mutant though. Like he just has telekinetic powers.
I'm so much of a Marvel fanboy, and that would have made me walk out of the theater.
If
That
there's
would
like
have been the end.
a Kevin Feige press release where it's like, that's Professor X, but he's not a mutant in this universe. He's the only one. He just has telekinetic powers.
Someone threw the Mind Stone at him as a kid and just knocked him on the side of the head, and that was enough.
One of the comic discussion Facebook groups I'm in, I saw there was a huge debate because apparently there are people that are now turning on Kevin Feige that have always like supported him that think he's ruining Marvel now. And they're saying that one of the biggest arguments is that after internals not having Eternals, sorry.
I was like internal affairs?
I said externals at first.
The externals.
I'm just getting over brain fog.
The Externals sounds like the name of a team. It sounds like a team that like goes back in and has to clean stuff up. So it's like a whole band of like B-list superheroes that are like, we're the Externals. We come in and like clean up the mess of the Avengers.
Sounds like Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole point of it was they were saying like after Eternals and it not connecting to X-Men and WandaVision having the whole what was his name? Ralph Boner.
Yeah.
To avoid the X-Men connection. Because there were so many rumors, that Xavier or Magneto would show up in that. And then for this to have Xavier but not go full X-Men again, and it's a play on House of M, and House of M is based around X-Men. A lot of comic lovers, and when I say a lot, I mean a very loud minority. We're talking about a couple dozen people that were having the discussion, so I don't mean a lot of people. But there were hundreds of comments. I mean, this discussion just went on and on and on, and they're talking about like starting boycotts and everything against Kevin Feige because he's lost his way and all that. I think this movie is proof that it is brilliant, and he's taking his time to make sure that the X-Men are done right.
Because as cool as the theory, as cool as I think the theory is,
it can be done better.
There's so many better because I still like. There's a guy that I watch on YouTube called Film Theory, and he made a video about how he thinks that the way the X-Men will end up in the MCU is in the comics and in the X-Men animated series. When it ended, it continued in the comics. And then what happened is that universe got destroyed and lapsed into the 616 universe. So he has a theory that this was before the whole reveal of Patrick Stewart. So like now with that kind of confirmation-ish style, it may mean that X-Men 97 will run for like 3 or 4 years, that universe will collapse and cause an incursion in the main MCU. I don't want to call it 616 because I have my own opinion on that, but that could be possibly how the X-Men get in there.
They can use the fact that we are now accustomed to animated series being canon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They can use that to make what you're saying work. They're just like, I mean, we already did it with What If. Peggy Carter was there and Captain Carter, and people bought that, and that worked.
Yep.
With the whole fact of Secret Wars being centered around an incursion, that could be what the incursion is.
All we have to say is that this Charles Xavier, he looks like the one from the animated series. You want to know why? He fucking is.
Well,
he is.
The X-Men animated series ran from 92 to 96. It was a 5-year run. That's why this one's being called X-Men 97. The return is called X-Men 97. The comic book that built off from the original series was called X-Men 92 just because it dealt with that time period or whatever. But that series ended horribly. The last season was trash. But it ended with Xavier being really injured and having to go off-world. And he had to almost like telekinetic, well, not kinetic. He had to like use telepathic powers almost to like save his mind because his body was so injured. And they played on that a little bit in, was it X-Men The Last Stand when Phoenix destroyed him and he had to put his mind into a comatose patient just to keep his mind somewhere because he had to leave his mind somewhere because he didn't have a body. His body was destroyed. He can take his mind out and move his mind around.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And
I didn't watch those.
he has no body powers. Like his body is.
You not seen
not only is he
2000 X-Men?
I've seen that.
That's what he's talking
the third
about.
one.
The third one.
Jean Grey destroys him.
I don't. Okay. I've seen that, but I don't remember him moving his brain.
I'm going to say, how
His
did
mind.
you see?
Do you remember when she tears him apart?
Yes,
Destroys him?
because from outside, Magneto's like, Charles.
Yep. Well, then he's dead. He's dead the rest of the movie. And then the post-credit scene is Moira Taggart going in to check on a patient.
I was young and stupid.
And the comatose patient opens his eyes, and it's not Charles. And he says, Moira. And it's Patrick Stewart's voice. So
yeah, I didn't watch post-credit scenes back then. I was like, I didn't know.
Gotcha.
I was probably also with my parents, and they were ready to go.
They are the prototype for what the MCU is now, and it's just funny that
I always
Kevin
thought
Feige was a producer.
I always thought that 2008, like I thought Iron Man was the.
That was the beginning of the MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought it was the. I thought it was the
Gotcha.
original like post-credit scene kind of pioneer.
Blade gave people credit that a movie could pull off comic shit correctly, and then X-Men proved that you can build a franchise around comic book characters. And then Spider-Man made all the money that made everybody like, we've got to get into comic books. So it's like a 3-step thing. But I feel like X-Men are really the prototype.
Yeah.
Speaking of Spider-Man, what did you think about Sir Sam Raimi doing his thing on this here picture?
God,
I loved it.
It was a Sam Raimi film, as we discussed earlier, for like 75% of it. First 20 minutes is a Marvel film.
Yeah, and that's brilliant because it's supposed to shift.
It kind of just like,
it's like he allowed himself to say, all right, I got to make this movie feel like the MCU so that people start this movie before the whole multiverse break and everything goes crazy.
We'll get
I got to make it
sucked in.
feel like it's one of those other movies, and then I'm going to do my movie once things break out.
I feel like he did it so well too, because I feel like you get hints of like the break, like as that's occurring, you start to get hints of everything breaking, like how the multiverse is about to break open. And that was so beautifully done.
Yeah. And not just horror elements, little Sam Raimi elements. The music goes from MCU style to Sam Raimi style. The shooting style.
The music was crazy.
Sam Raimi loves the really close like looks that people give and everything. And the movie didn't start out with much of that. The movie ends up with a lot of those shoots. Like it was much more brilliant than I think a lot of people were giving credit to.
Yeah.
He really made two styles of movies and made them blend.
Yeah, it got really. It started off kind of how you expect, like you're saying, but you slowly like saw yourself sliding faster and faster into like, what the fuck is this?
Yep.
Like kind of, I stayed very unplugged from everything before going to see this. And so I didn't know much about it at all. Like I knew a little bit. There's someone
weed eating,
doing
leaf
something.
blowing.
I think the leaf blowing. Yeah. We're just gonna.
Maybe we could pause for a little bit.
We could.
Maybe they'll walk away.
Yeah. Do people really care?
Probably not.
All right. Can I?
So, he
wasn't done talking.
What was I saying before I was rudely interrupted by Steele out there?
You had avoided most of the spoilers or anything.
So I had avoided everything, and I didn't know this was supposed to be a horror movie. Like when I went into it, I was like, "What the fuck? This is crazy."
Well, the original director was a horror movie director. And
I didn't even know Sam Raimi was directing this. Like I stayed that like, if you guys told me, I'm sorry.
We did.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, but I forgot.
When we were talking about when No Way Home was coming out, and we talked about the old Sam Raimi movies, we mentioned it.
Okay.
I think it was really like I think somebody said Sam Raimi were like, yeah, and he's directing the new Multiverse of Madness, so that'll be interesting.
On it,
so it was honestly so quick of a conversation that I won't fault you, for your forgetfulness on that one.
This isn't one of those. This isn't you forgetting who the Illuminati is 3 times in a row.
Or
I think
or us saying something a couple times and you taking it, you know.
I think I told Skylar this, but while I was watching the movie, I was like, I love this, but I don't know why. Like, I can't figure out why I love it and why this just feels like something in me, like it's pulling something out of me. And then I saw directed by Sam Raimi at the end, and I was like, Oh, because he was part of my childhood. Like a big part of, like, I was, like, obsessed with the Spider-Man movies. You know, even the third one, which was kind of doo-doo. But that wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault.
No. That was when
Sony started Sonying.
Yep.
Started
the early
fucking
signs
shit
of
up.
Sony starting to Sony.
Yeah.
Sony
But-
gonna Sony.
Even
But,
he was able to do things that he did with the Evil Dead, but it didn't feel corny and out of date.
Because I want to get, I've got like 12 things to rant about how good Sam Raimi did. Can I just point out there was only one part of the movie that I didn't like?
What was it?
The Bruce Campbell parts.
Yeah, that was dumb.
It was just dumb and
It was
like
cheesy.
I went into this movie
Too cheesy.
like just like you. I disconnected, made sure I didn't get any spoilers or anything. I was much more connected as far as knowing who directed it, but you know, but I didn't have spoilers beforehand, which was fantastic lately because man, that's hard to avoid lately.
Yeah.
But I knew Bruce Campbell would be in it. He's been listed as on the cast for like 6 months, so I knew he was in it, and I knew it would be a small part. Because here's the thing: Bruce Campbell is lovable, but he's not a good actor. So he's got this huge like fan club, and I don't understand why. Those campy movies, he played the part perfect.
Yeah.
But for a serious role, and I just didn't think that.
Think
I knew
hot dog vendor number 1 was a serious role?
Papa Pizza.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah.
I mean, he had like a
Pizza
he had
Papa.
like a 2-minute scene. Then he had follow-up scenes that were thrown in there, and he had a whole post-credit scene.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I'm just saying.
I think
I get it.
I think they could have done something-
I'm with you. I think they were out of place. They took you out a little bit.
he could have been done better. I think.
I mean,
Yeah.
Because he's not a great actor, but I think just the whole, even if somebody else had played Pizza Papa, I still would have been like, that was a waste of.
Yeah.
It's that thing
it
we
was a
always.
waste of time.
It's one of those things we always talk about is the fact of, if it doesn't add to the story,
Yep.
it shouldn't be in there.
There was a lot of exposition that I don't feel like we needed. Like a lot of spoken exposition, like explaining shit that I don't feel like needed to be explained in that way, like as literally.
In
stuff
what
from
way?
stuff that
Green
about the
means
TV
go.
shows.
Just do me a favor and forget about everything you know. Like that. I was
Gotcha.
like, yeah, I mean, you could have just, like, you could say, oh, no, here, green means go. That's all you need to
But
say.
you
And
also
then
have to
we'll
think
figure out as the audience.
It's a teenager. A teenager would be like,
yeah,
obviously.
teenager being a little
yeah.
brat.
A teenager, if like,
Yeah.
how many
It actually-
teenagers
that
have you
didn't bother
interacted
me,
in?
but I understand what
'cause-
you're saying.
Yeah.
But like, teenagers would be the one that'd be like,
I felt like Strange did a lot of it too,
like,
though.
obviously, dude, we're in a different universe. Things
Yeah.
don't work the same. Like, come on.
I think it's because we work with 18 and 19-year-olds and we get it from them.
Yeah.
They talk
Yeah.
just like that.
I haven't been around
We have
asshole
3 of 'em.
teenagers in a long time, so.
Yeah, you deal,
like-
deal with a couple of them, and it's just like,
We've had like 3 or 4 America Chavez's working for us in the past year. Which, by the way, she did a great job, I
yeah,
thought.
she did.
Yeah.
I thought she did a great job.
I saw
The actress, that part felt very flat. I thought the actress did a great job, but all in all,
it felt like
the part of American Chavez was
American Chavez.
America Chavez.
Love me
just-
some American Chavez.
I felt like this was a Doctor Strange Wanda movie,
Yeah.
and I feel like she was just kind of there for the most part. She did really good when she was needed, but
I felt like that's
I
what
feel
the
like-
movie needed, though.
and,
So, I
and maybe
mean,
and I'm gonna say that's kind of how it probably should have been, where she was more of just this extra character, and we'll get more of her later, which is probably what they were going for. I'm just saying, like,
It's
all in
hard to-
all, it feels like we got this character that we're supposed to be like to care about her not dying, and I didn't really have any real connection to me being like,
Yeah.
I mean, if America lives or dies, like,
We were concerned about Doctor Strange's soul at that point.
yeah,
That's what we were thinking about. We weren't thinking about whether or not America dies. We were like, okay, she's either gonna or she isn't. But what really is important here is whether or not our Doctor Strange is good.
because like all in all, I'm glad to see.
So what I'm saying is maybe the point is for us not to get connected to her. Maybe that was done on purpose. Stay
Maybe.
connected to Doctor Strange. That's who's
Yes.
important here.
Yeah,
it's hard enough
like,
to
This
have
is just an introduction.
It's
of
hard
her.
enough to have 2 leads, and this movie
Right.
truly had 2 leads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I liked America Chavez more than y'all did, but maybe it's because
Oh, I did not like her.
No, I love I'm glad to
Whoa
see.
there, bud.
What I was gonna say before Kyle had said something was that
Excuse me.
I'm like there's so much that I love about it, about her existing. Like she's important to the storyline. It's great to finally have more POCs in the MCU, and especially like someone part of the LGBTQ, powerful young woman.
I saw somebody saying that they didn't say anything about that, and she had the pin on her jacket, which was pretty noticeable. I'm pretty sure there was like a really was a close up of it, and I understand why they didn't go into depth like with that.
She never licked vagina, but I mean it was pretty clear.
Like
but like it's also one of those things of like it shouldn't be something where like nobody has to walk on stage, like no one has to walk into a scene and it's like, I'm straight. Yeah, I only fuck women.
You don't want to walk off. You don't want to have to shoehorn it in there.
Yeah, there had to be really no point of being like
the pin. I thought the pin was the perfect way to do it.
A very nice accent of being like, yep. And
when I saw the YouTube comment, I was like,
and then later she'll just try to fuck Kate Bishop in the Young Avengers.
Trying to be mad.
Quick personal story. Maybe I sympathized with her a little bit more because I'm sitting in a crowded ass theater and. Man, I love big screen and the sound and all that, but I don't like being in a theater when it's packed full of people. And this one was. The guy to my right was just like eating hardcore, like the whole time. So I was looking over. I kept like getting distracted by this guy just like going to town on his bucket. And I'm watching the movie. I finally like get into it where I'm like blocking him out, and the scene where she tells the story about her parents. She says, my two moms, and there's an old couple to my left immediately said, oh my God. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Y'all just let me watch this goddamn movie.
Yeah, it was, I was waiting to hear stuff like that when I was like watching it, but I didn't actually. I didn't hear any groaning.
Did y'all have anybody clap in your theater?
Not a single clap.
No, nobody.
Because like when I was in Spider-Man, the whole theater erupted in roars.
Same.
But when I was sitting there and Professor X came, I was like, and I'm like looking around, and like everybody next to me are like,
John Krasinski pops up, and I'm like, nobody says anything.
When John Krasinski,
Anson Mount walks up, same thing.
When John Krasinski comes in, I literally was like, oh my God. And then realized, no one else gives a shit. That's weird.
Yeah, I like audibly gasped, and the whole room's silent. And I'm like, are y'all not excited about this?
Spider-Man was bringing together other movie franchises, and I know that that's kind of what's happening here. But like they were bringing in characters we've actually already seen. Like I know that Professor X is one.
Black Bolt was on a television.
But
it's
been
the same.
It was a horrible show.
X-Men hasn't had a good run. Like lately,
but
so I don't know
that Professor X
people love Spider-Man.
Legendary.
Yeah, but I think people love Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield more.
I'm just saying, I've heard stories of people that said that the whole audience erupted in cheers when Professor X came out.
Oh no, I didn't hear that.
I've heard that too.
Maybe that could have happened.
Everybody I've talked to about it, because I've talked to a few other people who had seen it, and that's like the second or third question I asked is like, how'd you like the movie? Did people applaud whenever everybody came out? And they were like, yes, no. And I'm like,
I didn't expect applause for Patrick Stewart, though, because we already knew he was in the trailer. Like, he was an announced person. Like, we knew he was there. Mm-hmm. John Krasinski should have been the big surprise. Anson Mount is a fantastic actor.
Who is that? Black Bolt?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a fantastic actor.
From the TV series. Right?
Yeah. Horrible series.
Right.
Great actor.
Okay.
Great actor playing a meh character in a horrible show.
He looked like he was a scary character.
Oh, Black Bolt has some of the greatest moments in comics, but 90% of the time he sucks.
Had.
Well, he still exists in the comics.
R.I.P. Yeah.
That was an epic scene. That was something you wanted to talk about, was Wanda's best one-liners.
Oh my God. Wanda has become, like, she's not even a true villain. Like, she is a villain for this movie. I get that. But, like, she's going to just bounce back and forth. That is who Scarlet Witch is.
Yeah.
Because she's a morally fantastic person who's got a brain fracture and keeps slipping back and forth between morally questionable to moral. Like, she wants to be moral. She thinks.
Yeah.
What?
I want to bring up the fact that, just real quick, that we even get, like, in the Darkhold Omega, which is a comic that came out a few months ago. She literally convinces Doctor Doom to help her convince, like, 4 other superheroes like Spider-Man and I can't remember everybody but to go because the Darkhold is like you can go into the Darkhold realm where like the creator of the Darkhold lives, and she convinced them to go there, which basically turns you into a monster to defeat the guy who created the Darkhold and the Darkhold realm, and then brought them back, all because she wanted to be the one that controlled the Darkhold realm. So she basically broke the minds of people like Spider-Man and a few other characters just so she could take control.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Doctor Doom was pissed because Doctor Doom was like, I'll take the Darkhold now. And she's like, no, you can't because now it's part of me. And like she absorbs the Darkhold and like her like left half turns into like branches and stuff. It's fucking awesome. I should find a photo.
Do you think we'll get Chthon and everything in the MCU at some point connected, or do you think they're going to move away from it? Do you think this is it?
I think we'll probably.
Chthon, or?
I think as far as with Chthon, probably move away from it because, like, if they were going to have a chance to do it, they would have done it now. And honestly, I can't think of many other instances that Chthon would be important.
What's Chthon?
The one that created the Dark.
Okay, sorry.
And,
Sorry.
So I can't imagine we're going to actually see him come back, at least not for a hot minute.
So why was the temple? If that's the case in the MCU also, or if that's what you're thinking, could be the case. Why did the temple look like it was built for her? The throne.
It was a prophecy.
Yeah,
prophecies that are basically foretold that's like she'll eventually. Because like if you remember from WandaVision, what's her face? Agatha even tells her like
knew who she was.
There are books written about the Scarlet Witch and what she will do.
So how did it's just some prophecy that like Wanda happened to, or did she happen to, or it's always going to be Wanda?
All right, so we don't know for 100% how the MCU is going to do it, but based on, you know how they say like, what are they called, way lines or whatever? They think like the pyramids were built where they're at because of way lines, where there's energy running through the earth and they cross at certain points. So like important things are built on way lines. Gotcha. Aren't they called way lines?
They're called way lines.
Okay. Well, in Marvel, the multiverse has way lines. So even though there's like an infinite amount of Earths.
Let's pause for a second. After I rudely interrupted Josh.
Can we get set?
No. No.
Are we started?
I was just going to talk. Yeah, until you get your... I was going to give you time.
Oh, I didn't know if we'd started or not. I was just like...
Yeah, no, we were starting back. I was just saying we were just going to jump back in. It's more fun that way. We'll figure out where we were. I mean, we might as well record it. Why not? What were you talking about? Do you have any idea?
Oh, fuck.
I do wish we had the ability to run it back without stopping the recording. Because that's just annoying.
Fuck, what were you talking about? We probably should have set this in motion.
Oh, man, that's going to annoy a lot of people.
I'm just going to have to cut all of this.
Uh-oh. No. Leave it in.
No.
Leave it in. It was fun. It's fun.
God,
we were all over the place anyway. So
we
probably didn't finish like 15
We were talking about Black Bolt, and then we were talking about Wanda having the best one-liners. That's what we were talking about.
That is something. That's one of the points.
I had mentioned the Darkhold and da, and you were saying how Wanda bounces back and forth between being a good guy and a bad guy, and that's how she's in the comics. And then I brought up something, and then I zoned out. And then Kyle said, "We're gonna take a break."
Then I asked. No, a few minutes happened there because I started a different conversation.
Like I said, I blacked out for a little bit there. Mainly because I was like, I'm out of drink. And then I had a whole conversation in my head. And then I was like, can I have some water?
Okay. All right, hold on. Let's back up and structure this thing a little bit. We were all over the place. There were probably like 15 different points we didn't finish. Taking that little walk to the kitchen cleared my head a little bit.
You set me up to talk about Wanda.
Yeah.
But I already had something on my mind. I asked, do you think Chthon's going to be back?
Yep. Mm-hmm. I said, no, I don't think Chthon's going to be back unless he comes back later on down the road.
And I was suggesting a way that...
It's just bugging the shit out of you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there a way to bring Chthon, like... Because we talked a little bit about her being prophesized. And
I remember.
There we go.
Wayline, you asked.
Waylines, yeah.
Wasn't that fun?
You asked how.
Leave all of it in.
All the smoke
you asked,
coming out of our
Wanda
headphones.
was the Darkhold always going to affect this Wanda like that and all of that? And I was going to say.
I don't.
So,
and the reason I ask that is because I'm not like I don't believe in prophecies and stuff. And
Well,
I know that this is
so.
make believe, but I'm like I'm trying to ground it in the MCU world. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, is this magic yet? Is this one is it magic? Is this destiny and magic yet?
You can ground it in the same way that people can have future sight and people can look through other dimensions. Like because how most of the sciencey things are explained away, like Scott, for instance, Cyclops, it's his eyes don't produce laser beams. Yep. His eyes are dimensions to a world that just shoots that out. So when he opens his eyes,
a hot world,
it basically just releases a shit ton of plasma out.
Oh,
so like you can science away most of it. That it's like he's not really.
It's science-ish kind of maybe.
So you could probably have something where it's like we have seen like we have been given these this magic or this advanced technology, basically.
I got you. I follow.
And somebody had future sight of knowing that eventually there would be someone who would come along.
Yeah.
So the book, The Darkhold, is a copy of the original Darkhold, which is the temple.
Yes.
The temple only exists on Earth 616.
Why?
Because the multiverse has a unlimited amount of versions.
Did they say this? Did they talk about this in the movie?
They hint enough that I know.
Or is it something that you just had to figure out?
If I didn't know it from the comics, I don't know that I would have figured it out, but yes. So Wong kind of points out that on this Earth, there is a temple, and it is the true original and the only version of the original Darkhold. And the reason it's on this Earth is the same reason that all the interesting stories, like the reason we follow our Earth is because we have the most interesting Earth out of the entire multiverse. And it's because Waylines lay on this Earth in a multiverse, the way that Waylines are on Earth, the reason they built the pyramids where they did and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The multiverse has these Waylines, and they all cross-sect on this Earth, the Earth that we're on.
Gotcha.
So this Earth has all these weird shits that happen because gods are more interested in this Earth. Demons, everything, like all the superpower beings are more interested in this Earth. So this is kind of the central Earth of all the unlimited Earths that are out there in the multiverse, even other planets. The reason more shit happens on Earth is because
it's just it's a hot spot.
It's kind of like the waylines of our 616 universe fall on this Earth, and that universe falls into the cross-section waylines of the multiverse. So like, it's
why Chthon picked this Earth, which is why there's more dark magic on this Earth, which is why this is the Scarlet Witch that's more important.
It's why the anti-life equation's on. Oh, sorry, wrong universe.
It's why X-Men are such a big deal on this Earth, because in the comics, the Eternals and all the Celestials, all of them, they chose Earth as an important spot because they knew all of this
so
as
much
well.
going on. Like, if you actually lived in the world that is the Marvel universe,
as cool as it would be, but it would suck.
It would suck, man. Like, everything would always be under construction. There'd always, you're like, an alien attack. Like, no one's running anymore.
It would be The Boys. It would literally be what The Boys is about.
It's been 20 years. I've seen so many tentacle monsters running down the street in my neighborhood now. I don't even bat an eye. Like, it doesn't fucking matter.
God damn it. Somebody call the Avengers.
Right. Like, the other day, I just fucking, like,
people have like superhero insurance because like it
really would be The Boys.
That's
like, maybe less murdery. Like, I mean, you know,
I don't think it'd be less murdery. I think we have a cleaned copy of it. Like, we're basically getting a clean copy of it. Let's be honest. If those things really existed, they would like somebody wouldn't
those
just like
things. They're people. You're starting to sound an awful lot like
I'm talking about the tentacle monster.
You mutant hater.
Yeah, that's what I say. You're gonna make Magneto come up.
Oh man.
Anyway,
but
I want Magneto to come up so bad. I'm ready for Magneto. He's one of my favorite characters. Magneto and Doctor Doom are the two characters that I need in this.
They haven't really. Well, Fassbender did a good job, I think. Right?
Oh, Ian McKellen did a beautiful job.
Did he? I wasn't sure because he was an older dude. Like, I didn't know because I know in the comic books, from what I had from what
But
I've
you also
seen,
have to think, like,
it might be the cartoon I'm thinking of, but although he was an older man, he was like, this dude still looks like he could whoop ass.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Magneto's always been physically
And-
really.
and-
He just has white hair and makes him look super old. But yeah,
he's never looked frail.
no,
Like I love Sir Ian McKellen.
like he was
but
like,
Sir Ian McKellen doesn't even really fit the role that much because he was wrinkly.
Physically, yeah.
like son, if I'm coming at you in all plastic, you're done. You're done for. Like, what are you gonna do to me?
But Ian
Whereas-
McKellen's the way that he acted out, the voice, the feel, the aura that he gives off is perfect.
I think we've said this before on the show, but if Michael Fassbender and what's his name? I always forget it. The guy who played
James
Charles,
McAvoy.
James McAvoy. If they were to come back as Professor X and Magneto, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah, I buy it.
That was why I was actually excited to see.
Fassbender.
What's his name? The guy who played Ralph
Boner.
Boner. The guy who played Quicksilver. Evan Peters.
Yeah.
If I was excited to see Evan Peters because I was like, I think a few of the actors in that were phenomenally chosen for their parts. There were some that I could have done without, like the kid who played Scott. I was like, I could take him or leave him.
He's a fantastic actor. But I don't know that he's
as Scott. Yeah. But I thought as far as Professor X and Magneto casting, I think they nailed it. They picked two phenomenal actors who just nailed the parts, and I was like, I would be okay with them coming over. That was my main theory for this movie, was that she would say more. She would find them. She would say more mutants, and then all of a sudden, all these kids on Earth start having mutant abilities, and that's when they're like, "Well, we need to stay here to help raise these mutants who've never had abilities before," and then that's when we'd have an incursion for Secret Wars. But that didn't happen. So, yeah.
Well, Patrick Stewart's coming back.
Really?
Yeah, he's coming back.
You sure? How do you know?
Because
he kind of died.
Did he?
Well,
she
sure
killed
looked
him.
like it.
She killed him in a mind world, which.
But I guess we've already established he can just toss his brain
Yeah.
into a drawer.
Yep.
Just wait till somebody stupid comes along.
But do you think he would have followed her across like the multiverse to keep like an eye on her? Maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
Just Casper.
Charles isn't as strong as Scarlet Witch, but
he jumped into America.
But he knows the astral plane better than her. And while she was powerful enough to go into the astral plane and kill him, he's a master of the astral plane. So his mind could have literally been placed anywhere while he was in the astral plane. So, that body was killed through the mind because, like, she snaps his neck in a mind world, which kills him, his physical body.
Matrix rules.
Back in the 838. That is right?
We do need to talk about that.
it's
We do need to talk
838.
about if this is 616.
I mean, it 100% is because they've said it is. But there's questions about...
They've said in the... A random doctor in the movie in a different universe said that she called it 616.
I know.
Canonically, it has not been called 616.
Listen,
which either means...
But this is the first time we've ever heard of someone numbering the...
No.
It's not?
No, it's the third time, and it's always been 616. It just doesn't make sense. And Marvel makes sense with shit so much. I feel like this is
Why doesn't it make sense?
Because...
Oh, wait, hold on. Back up. When are the other two times it's been mentioned?
Mysterio...
Right. Which was a weird one because wasn't
he's
actually
faking it all.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But he says
Mysterio in
I didn't
Far
even-
From Home.
I didn't even count his just because I always just... His is such an Easter egg.
We treat
guess.
it as an Easter egg because it's like, okay, well, all that was fake, so he wouldn't have known. So,
Right. So,
but then in the Loki series, when they when he didn't believe the multiverse type of thing, so they show him all the different versions. The one that died that we know about that was killed by Thanos and all of that.
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing
Loki
that.
616.
Yep, I remember seeing that.
So
I forgot.
It's not a random doctor just saying it. Like there was more to it than that. But
I forgot. I knew about I remembered the Mysterio one, but I counted that as like an offhanded Easter egg at that point. And then I forgot the Loki one is the one that I feel supports it more.
Yeah,
because that's the TVA.
Mysterio. I wonder if that makes you go to Mysterio. No, this feels like a conspiracy, Alex Jones kind of thing. But Did Mysterio no more
It feels
than
like
we
John
give him
Watts
credit for?
shouldn't have included that, but Kevin Feige obviously okayed it. Or
But it
Well,
also
I
could
don't
have been
know.
just one of those things where it
Maybe
was
they
just-
hadn't decided yet.
It wasn't originally like they weren't sure that that's what they were going to call it, so they were just
'Cause that was-
using
that
it
was-
as an Easter egg joke. Because that's now like 4,
It's been a
5
while.
years ago.
It's been a while. I mean, I know they planned shit out
When
for
did
quite a
No Way-
ways, but like that's a bit that's a
Infinity
detail
War
that I,
came out in 2018, right? So yeah, 4 years now. It's been 4 years since Far From Home came out. Because it came
3,
out after
right?
Infinity War.
Didn't it come out in 2019?
It came out in
shit.
19.
It did come out in 19, so
Yeah.
3. So maybe that was just something they hadn't
a
fully like,
detail they hadn't fleshed out yet.
yeah, where they're just like, we'll leave it in as the Easter egg, and then as they're designing the TVA, and as they're designing Multiverse, they're like, you know what? Why don't we just go full force? Because I can make an argument. I think I made this argument to you when you asked me this question the other day. Because you presented to me, you were like, is this really the 616?
Because it doesn't make sense.
But I can make the argument, and we could talk more about this after I mention this, but I can make the argument that in the comics, there has been 8 other iterations of the 616 universe. Because what happens is the universe collapses in on itself, and then pretty much an identical universe springs up. So, like, there's a universe where the Eternals basically sleep with the population of Earth, and they basically give the mutate and mutant gene, and that's how we have mutants, and that's how we have Spider-Man and Hulk. Because if you have a mutant gene, you obviously become a mutant. If you have the mutate gene, you become Spider-Man or Hulk. Whereas like a radioactive spider biting a normal person, you would have died. But if you have the mutate gene, you become Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And you've
The
got like
simplest way to-
celestial DNA.
But that was the celestial
And
DNA was either the mutate gene or the mutant gene.
Yeah.
Cool.
That DNA split, and you just said it, but the simple version is a mutant. If you got the mutant gene, then you are born with the gene, and it's triggers through
gonna
puberty.
happen. Yeah.
It triggers through puberty, and
Yeah.
you're going to turn into some form of mutant. If you have the mutate gene, something extreme has to happen to your body to make that gene crank up and do something. Which
that what-
Hulk,
is that-
Spider-Man?
Doesn't Deadpool fall into that then?
He's a mutant.
He's a
But
mutant.
why? Is
His
it
puberty never put his body through enough stress because it's one of those
This
things
is
like,
Fox that are going to have to retro it.
yeah.
huh?
Fox did it, so you got to remember that they were playing on it a little
Yeah.
bit different.
But
so.
in the comic books, how did he become like disfigured and shit? Because like in the movie,
Cancer, like legit, he did have cancer, and his body like tries to regenerate itself.
but he
while it
already
kill
had
it.
those powers.
So he was a mutant with the ability to heal super fast and all of this. What happened was he got a case of cancer in the comics, and his mutant gene that heals so fast, because it wants to regenerate, it connected with the cancer and made the cancer super bad, where it just throws tumors nonstop on him, and it retroactively fights off and keeps the cancer from killing him. So it makes tumors every which way, but the tumors can never get to a point of killing him.
Sounds painful.
Yeah, he's in constant pain all the time. His whole body hurts.
That's part of the
But
reason why he's like mentally broken is because of all of like just the traumatic shit. But
Wow.
you can easily explain that away of just being like, well, normally puberty can trigger this in people. Well, because Fox kind of did it in its own right, where the Fox even said like some people have the mutant gene,
Yeah.
but it takes like takes like really, really high amounts of trauma for your body to trigger it versus some people where going through puberty is able to trigger it. So I think Deadpool's kind of safe there because it's, you can make it's not infeasible to think that, you know, some things it just takes more to trigger it than others.
Yeah, true. And they could play it off in the Fox version, saying that the reason his aim was so good, his reaction time was so good, and all that, why he was such a great mercenary was the mutant abilities. And he just thought he was super talented.
Yeah.
A lot of mutants with milder mutant abilities just think they're talented and stuff. So
And it could have been one of those things where he probably could always just heal.
Spaced out for a second there.
Yes,
Sorry.
you did.
He
I was
probably,
thinking about something
he
else.
could probably always heal fast, but it was probably one of those things where it was like he like cut himself and then like the next day it's healed and he's like, oh, you know, just whatever. And I've never noticed it before and I don't really get hurt all that often. But with all of the intense treatment his body took, it like supercharged. Like, because like if you think about it, how do you train a healing factor? Well, you put your body through intense physical pain consistently, and that's how it. And especially with his cancer probably triggered it because of the fact that it merged with the mutant ability. So there's plenty of ways to kind of retcon it and make it make sense, but. I don't think they're going to go that much into detail. I feel
probably
like
not. They're probably just going to throw Ryan Reynolds in the screen and just be like, "There you go, you're welcome."
Yeah, I'm ready for him to pop up.
I am too.
How do you think they're going to do? Ooh,
I thought we might see him in this.
Well, don't forget what you're going to say. But where all this came from is, I think Patrick Stewart's coming back because,
I think he's too old.
Because he said I'm ready to come back.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Shut
up, Joe.
He said, Joe. Who's Joe?
That was a Joe Biden joke.
Yeah,
he wasn't ready to come back. I'm sorry.
Gotcha. No, Patrick Stewart just said in an interview the other day that he was extremely hesitant about doing this because he felt like Logan was such a quality movie and a quality goodbye for his Patrick Stewart character. Mm-hmm. But because it did affect, like, have a thing where it's in the future and it's an alternate version, and now that the MCU is playing with the multiverse, he was like, I agreed to do it because Kevin gave me such a good feel for what this was going to be, and it was going to be true to Charles Xavier, so I decided to do it, and it was so much fun, and I love where they're going with it that I'm ready to come back. I don't think he would say that if they didn't already say, we got one last story we want you to do.
One last, sure.
I think that's what it is.
It's weird just trying
he's old, he's fragile.
Yeah, because like he's 81. If they don't start shooting stuff now, this was his last film. Like,
he might be fine for a while. I mean, he looks healthy.
But
he's old.
Yeah,
he's old.
But,
yeah.
It's also one of those things of, so many people look healthy and then just one day, like there's no like clear, you take a big gamble if you're going to be like, hey, we're going to put this multi-million-dollar project on the back of Patrick Stewart for him to.
But he does have a lot of money, and so did Betty White. She lived for a long time.
99.
She was almost there. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed in her. I was like, you were so close.
Like, I just
quit her.
I don't know.
She would laugh at that. It's fine.
I don't know what. I don't know what.
Dark. No,
I just don't know. Like, what else would you put him in? Because if you're like, okay, well, I want Patrick Stewart back as my Professor X, then are you okay with the fact that that'll probably be his last movie and we'll never have another Professor X again?
I'm okay. What? No Professor X?
I'm just saying, like the only feasible reason we get Professor X back is if it was in our universe. If it was in
this is just me pissing in the wind. But
I see what you're saying.
So you pretty much have to make the concession of if this is his last, because this would probably be the last movie.
No, maybe another version who is Patrick Stewart pops up to tell us something or whatever, helps us find our universe's Professor X. Maybe that. Maybe he has some sort of connection. Maybe this one's been locked away for some reason by Scarlet Witch, perhaps.
Did you have something you wanted to add?
Look at me.
You said you're.
I feel like I'm doing a little something today.
Well, I doubt he was locked up by Scarlet Witch because she wasn't doing stuff.
Maybe Agatha. Maybe that's possible. She was strong as shit.
But we also have no clear indication that mutants even exist anywhere in the MCU.
That's true. I'm just
the closest one we've had is Ursa Major.
That would work. That would work with the retcon, like, mutant introduction thing you guys were talking about. Like, maybe Wanda did that and she just ain't said nothing about it. Yeah, we don't know what she was doing in that cabin.
Because
for all that time,
the best way,
the Darkhold,
the best thing,
and maybe wishing that all the mutants were gone.
The best thing for the MCU, I think, is for the X-Men to already exist in there somehow.
Yeah.
The only problem I have is trying to work away, because I texted Skylar this, but it's about Fantastic Four. But
that was what I was going to ask.
I think the Fantastic Four exists in the quantum realm. I think, and me and Josh, we did a whole video. Well, we planned a whole video around this, but I think they exist in the quantum realm. or I guess we think, because this part Josh fed into this theory some. So
I told you a theory, you ran with it and expanded on it. But
I don't want to say it's my theory. It's kind of our theory. That what happened was in the 60s when Hank Pym was running around being Ant-Man and making Pym particles, he may have had a best friend scientist who was brilliant, a Reed Richards type. Reed Richards, who was dating his lab assistant Sue Storm at the time, decide that they want to explore the quantum realm more. So, with the help of his expert pilot Air Force friend who fought in World War II, Ben Grimm, and her brother who has just joined security with Shield,
kind of a dumbass.
And
at least,
they go together in the quantum realm, and Hank stays behind as the first quantum ship is sent into the quantum realm. Something goes wrong, and that adds to the fact that because he's constantly you see in the Ant-Man and the Wasp how he's constantly freaked out by the quantum realm. Because
he's lost multiple people in there.
That's the thing. Not just did he lose his wife there, but he also lost his best friend.
I don't even talk about that one.
And the thing is, Reed Richards is always cocky as fuck. So it'd basically be Hank man, I don't think we're ready to do this. And Reed's nah, fuck, man, we got this. There ain't no problems here.
Because Reed is conceited.
He's like,
that explains a lot.
I've done the math. I figured everything out. We're gonna do it. And so they go into the quantum realm and they get stuck there. And we already know from Janet Van Dyne and from the Ghost character that you can get abilities and powers from the quantum realm. So now they're stuck in the quantum realm. And as we know, the quantum realm doesn't exist in time. It exists outside of time.
Right.
So all of a sudden in Ant-Man Quantumania, at the end, it could be a post-credit scene, the fucking portal goes and boom, a ship appears and Scott looks up and all of a sudden a couple of people start to get out of the ship and look around, and it's all these people in lab coats, and you just see John Krasinski look at Scott, and Scott looks at him and he's just Hank, and that's where the movie ends. I think that that's a brilliant way to do it, and that means the Fantastic Four can still exist.
What was that sound again? Yeah. All right. I need you to cut that sound and the sound he made earlier about the guy who was eating hard. I need both of those on the soundboard so I can never ever use them, but I want them there.
And we know from the second Ant-Man movie,
buckle your seatbelts, kids. It's time for Science with Josh.
It's appropriate. I forgot I had it. Go ahead.
And we know from the second Ant-Man movie that there is a city inside of the quantum realm.
Yeah.
We saw that city in the dome.
Mm-hmm. That we think is
Chronopolis.
It's either Chronopolis, it's Kang, or if the Fantastic Four theory of them being in the quantum realm is true, Dr. Doom also built a mini universe. And
I think in the comics it's called the microverse, but due to some copyright problems, they couldn't call it the microverse, so they went with quantum realm.
Now, how would we get Doom? How would we get Dr. Doom?
What if Doom
was he with him?
I think we need to preface this because he doesn't know that we know, like what we know. Dr. Doom exists without the Fantastic Four. How you know Dr. Doom getting his abilities? Dr. Doom got his abilities from magic.
Okay.
That his mom taught him. And then his mom...
It was
He's a lot more closer...
He is some mountain or something, right? He went to... Am I wrong? No, didn't he get it? He got his powers some mystical something?
He was... so he.
What am I remembering?
He's from Latveria?
Latvia.
Latvia.
Latveria. It's been so long
I know that there's a Latvia. It's where... What was that girl's name that worked with us? Lana. She was from there.
Well, this is a fake place.
Then it's probably
I think it's Latveria.
Latveria.
So, which is very close to Sokovia.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there could be a Scarlet Witch Dr. Doom connection because so Dr. Doom's mother
maybe Dr.
was
Doom
basically a witch that had gone.
Okay. I was going to say maybe Dr. Doom is her dad instead of Magneto in this universe.
I don't think so.
You don't think they'll do that?
I don't.
You think it's too on the nose?
Yeah.
So I think that Dr. Doom will be he's basically, his dad was a brilliant scientist. His mom was a witch. And He gets the best of both worlds. He's a brilliant scientist, and he
is a witch.
Well, he plays with mystical arts a lot. And he gets to a point where he's pretty much as strong as Doctor Strange is on the mystical art side and almost as smart as Richard Reed on the scientific side.
He said it backwards.
Yeah.
Reed Richards.
You said it like you were reading a name tag. Richard Reed?
I don't know what's
Richard
up with me
Reed?
today.
Is that Richard Reed?
Richard,
oh, no, I didn't see the comma. Reed Richards.
Richard, comma, Reed?
Yeah.
I think I started drinking too early this morning.
So we think that they'll come in that. Well, actually, that sounds like it's probably right. That's the easiest way.
It's probably the easiest way to do it. Josh has an awesome theory.
And I would love if they set things up like that and we somehow get because we saw the Ant-Man helmet when they went back in Endgame. We saw Hank Pym was already, I think we already knew that, but we got a little more evidence of it. And he was, dilly-dallying around doing shit.
Because this doesn't even have to be...
It'd be cool if we got an original,
He doesn't even have to be Ant-Man at the time. It could literally just be him, he's being funded by S.H.I.E.L.D. to do to study Pym particles. And so is Reed Richards. And so this predates Ant-Man, or at least he's I'm designing this costume that can take us in and out, And Reed's well, I'm designing a ship. So you keep designing your costume and I'm going to design the ship. And that's this constant back and forth. And finally they are able to perfect Pym particles. I don't know. There's a few different ways you could do it.
I hope that they do I hope they do Reed Richards' powers in a way that just doesn't look fucking goofy. I'm gonna be honest with you,
we didn't get much.
We didn't get much, but that reach was a little when he reached out, I was like, oh crap.
I feel you're always gonna have this uncanny valley feel,
just because he's Gumby.
Yeah, I feel there's not. Because there's
not a good way to do it.
There's no way to make it look natural when it's something isn't natural.
You mean because it's live action or the motions?
The live action feel of it.
Because Incredibles pulled it off perfect. The wife, the mother, whatever her name was on The Incredibles, that's how you make.
Yeah.
I think it's because she was already a cartoon, she looked.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Did you
look
mean
like a toy.
The motion or the animation?
Because
it's the animation that throws. I mean, it's just because it's not natural to see that.
Yeah,
yeah. Because I thought it looked good in the movie. I didn't
I was going to say what they did. I thought looked fine.
It felt too slow.
It looked better, but I think that's good because this wasn't a fast paced movie. It wasn't.
Yeah, but if I had the ability to reach across the room and grab you, I'm not going to do it
But you also have to think he doesn't really get to move that fast. You think about stretching, having to stretch your body it takes a lot of mental focus and control to do something like that.
Reed Richards' stretching ability is not his strong suit anyway.
It's all about his intelligence.
Yeah. Oh. Sue Storm is the powerful one in the Fantastic Four.
She's literally in
she's
one
a
of
house.
They're in Dark Ages, one of the Marvel runs. They literally send all of the strongest heroes to the center of the earth to fight this impossible creature. And Sue Storm is one of the people they send because she's literally the most powerful Fantastic Four member, if not one of the most powerful heroes on Earth.
Her shield is her shield has held off celestial powers. When the Celestials have attacked the Fantastic Four and she saved the other three with her shield, it was strong enough to hold off that kind of strength. His stretchy shit should be very seldomly used if they do it right.
I will say though, Wanda got lucky. Good thing it wasn't a bring your kids to work day. Because their
kids?
Children, their son Franklin, literally created universe.
Hold on, that was funny. Oh, sorry.
Their son Franklin literally would create universes at playtime. He literally
Franklin
at 6 years old was there's a picture of him in bed with a literal universe in a book or a cup or something like that.
It's what? Don't fucking drop that. I don't know what happens. What happens if you drop that?
So hierarchy of power of the Marvel comics, even not even talking about MCU, the Marvel comics where they went extremely strong. There's the one above all who's basically the solo god of Marvel universe of everything, and then right underneath that are species like the Beyonders and stuff like that.
You get to see them in What If, the guy that stands off the Watcher. No, that's not a Beyonder. Sorry. The Watcher's below that.
And
Beyonders That's the original Secret Wars guy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Yep. His species can do things that like it's kind of another level.
He's one step under comic book writer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then running through that, you have all these strong things like the Living Tribunal and Celestials and all that. Well, as far as humanoid formed type of things, Franklin Richards is up there with all of those.
Yeah.
He's that powerful.
And his sister, like,
He's a mutant, and powers got passed down from the accident that changed his mother and father. Those two things in them that gave her all these powers and him all those powers, they kind of
that
did
like
some
cosmic
weird
energy
DNA thing. Yeah, this cosmic energy, and put it into, and he had the mutant gene. It was just like a cross section of everything of power went into one little kid. His future self had to go back and visit his childhood self because his childhood self was scared one night and had the covers over him and was creating a multiverse inside of his palm to play with as like a play toy.
Yeah, that's what I was
And
referencing.
the adult version had to come back and be like, we got to send you down the right path, son, because you are strong.
And then his sister isn't the same in way of like ability, but as far as knowledge, she's like the smartest person in the Marvel universe. She is like she is where he's smart too, but he's like, it's definitely the brain and the brawn right there.
Yeah.
He's the most powerful and she's the smartest.
She's like vision level.
Oh no,
smart
she outranks Tony, Reed, Doom, like all of them. She is just Riri, because I'd count Riri Williams in there too. Moon Girl as well. Like all of these.
Her dad is known as the smartest person in Marvel Comics. She's probably more of an IQ than him. Just he's the most probably knowledgeable because he's been around long. So
her and an
the
adult
smartest, and his daughter could be smarter.
If we had a 40-something-year-old version of her, she would outrank Reed easily. But yeah, so like I've seen, I'm not taking credit for that. I did think about it when we watched the movie when he mentioned he had kids, but I've seen it passed around all online where people just like, well, they're lucky that he wasn't like that. He never even got, like, good thing Scarlet didn't find out where the kids were, because like Franklin would have whooped her ass in no time. With a snap of his fingers, she would have been gone.
Elizabeth Olsen has officially become my favorite actor in Marvel.
Yeah, she owned it.
It was Robert Downey Jr. for a long time, and then I teased with other ones, but man, every time she needs an emotional scene, no matter where it's on in the range, she pulls it off perfectly. WandaVision was the best show, in my opinion, that they've done because of her emotional range.
Yeah.
And then you got those moments where, like, you know, as a comic book reader, you know that Wanda is a badass, but she doesn't know how to reach those parts of her yet, so she's only kind of middle strength or whatever.
Was she still just middle strength in this?
She's not at her peak, but she's getting up there now.
Okay.
Like her peak is creating universes.
Oh.
Like she literally.
Which, I mean, she kind of.
The fact that she had to physically fight shows that she's not at her peak, because when she's at her peak, she's like, stop existing. And you stop existing.
Like power word kill, basically. Like she just.
She killed 90 million mutants by saying no more mutants.
Yeah.
Or however many.
She wouldn't have had to track down America Chavez. She would have just said,
America Chavez here now.
Yeah.
All right. Power, dead. There wouldn't, that whole transfer of power, no, that wouldn't have had to happen the way it did. She would have just taken it.
She has unlimited ability. She just doesn't know how to reach those things.
Unlimited potential, maybe, is a really good way to phrase that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not only her emotional range, the way that she talks to her kids in WandaVision, the quivering that she can make her face do, where it's like
that lip quiver.
Oh my God. Her eyes, her nose shrinks up, her lip starts to quiver. She has full emotional control.
Some real Elvis. Elvis with sad eyes.
But like, we got a taste of it in Endgame when she's like, you took everything from me. And he's like,
will. Yeah.
Oh, that's quite something.
That's what she was doing.
Her like,
I don't even know.
Her badass little one-liners are becoming great, though. And then she just topped it in this one. When she looks at Reed and...
What mouth?
No,
not that. Like what comes
part.
after, like
right
before
that. He steps forward. He's like, Wanda, I also have kids. I know how you feel.
Is their mother alive?
Is the mother still alive? He's like, yes. She's like, good. There'll be someone left to raise them.
It's like, whoa,
cold.
Oh, hey, that's uncalled
Cold.
for.
I looked at the pig eating his popcorn and the old people that hate gay people, and I was like, nobody reacted.
No,
I was in my seat like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was probably the most epic line.
It's the coldest line ever.
That and what
Good.
That and what she proceeds to do after the fact is probably one of my favorite scenes.
It
in the
hurt
movie.
my feelings
Only
so
like,
much, man.
How she did, like, one, how they portrayed Black Bolt, like the speech of Black Bolt.
Yes.
When they killed Doctor Strange.
Where you can actually see the
That's
resonance.
Is that how his powers actually work?
Yeah.
Like, is that how that, okay.
As he taught, like, him at any word that he, like, that's why he doesn't talk. Is because it's not like he has control over it either. If he talks, that's what happens.
Yeah, he can't even
What
whisper.
happens? I mean, does it just dissipate eventually?
If he whispers down at the ground, he's going to cause an earthquake to start. Like it
doesn't go on forever and ever. If that's what it eventually dissipates.
It's
as
like sound
does.
But it's just at such a high magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
So his wife Medusa has to talk for him.
Yeah.
He like signs to her, and she speaks for the king.
But that's
That
also
sucks.
why Black Bolt kind of sucks as a character too, because like his power is so awesome, but you never really get to see it or see him in action because he doesn't.
It doesn't make it. He can't fly or anything with
Nope.
that. He
No.
can't just be like blah. Just like whoosh.
He's the king, and he can
Like, how could-
speak.
Like, so a good example of that kind of thought would have been the guy who uses echolocation in First Class,
Yeah.
where they use his.
Yeah.
Well, there's the difference between him and Black Bolt is Black Bolt couldn't do that because there'd be nothing below him to exist to push back on.
Oh, you okay? Who is that?
My throat's doing that.
Oh, okay.
I was like, who's screaming? I don't know if that came through, but
Right there was
Josh's
screaming.
throat just went.
Some tiny person in Josh's throat is screaming for help.
I ate a Smurf for breakfast.
Anyway,
But yeah, the
Black
way
Bolt dying.
the way they visually well, real quick, the way they visually showed the Black Bolt scream, perfection.
Perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Perfection.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
oh Jesus! It gave me chills. Like because
Their use of sound
mainly because it
in
like
this movie
scared
is so
me.
good.
I was like, oh, that's what he can do. Oh shit! Okay, all right.
So you knew
That was-
nothing about Black Bolt.
No, I was like, that was fucking intense.
I will say though, it got me too. Like I didn't like, but I was like, okay, all right. Oh fuck, this is loud as hell. Like
yeah,
this
it
is
was like
I didn't know how loud they were gonna go with, and like they
it was
just topped
uncomfortable.
it.
And there
And
was a ringing
that's the
too, wasn't there?
point.
They added a ring in it. It was just
the
like
sound, The
But it's-
sound was so well done.
It's supposed to be uncomfortable, so
Yeah.
you get that perfect feel. But then what she fucking does? What mouth?
And then why did he freak out? Like, I mean, come on.
He's an idiot.
Okay, clearly.
He's kind of an idiot in the comics. In a lot
Also,
of
I
ways.
don't feel like that's how it would work. If that was how that would work,
He produces what happens is his
yeah,
vocal
wouldn't
cords.
it rip through that though. Like, because if it fed
Kinda like
back
bust
that
out one
much,
side of his
Okay,
head.
well, think
if
about
if it tossed back that much energy every time he used it, he'd blow his brains out every single time he spoke.
so think about where your vocal cords are. They go up like this.
Yeah,
Well, so sound bounces. Well, what happens is when it comes out, that's his exit point.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
he pushes the sound out.
I'm just
With
assuming
that,
there's more
there's-
force behind this.
There was
sound.
nowhere for the sound to be pushed out, so it literally just.
Didn't it like come out one side of his head?
It didn't come out anywhere.
Ish.
It just
does.
like
it goes
because they show
I
his
thought-
head.
and
is
I
his
thought it
head
just-
caves in.
yeah. I thought it just like scrambled his eggs.
No, what happens
No.
is when he talked, when he went, it went,
It went.
and it
I didn't-
smashed out the side, and like you see it like push up and
Okay.
drop, and like
I don't remember it
depression.
popping. It's because he had the thing on. That's why it didn't pop.
Yeah,
It probably did.
And then just
inside
That's
the-
what I meant, yeah.
inside
turning
the-
turning Reed into just
string-
sausages, basically string
Yeah.
cheese.
Yeah.
I will say that I was disappointed that they chose, but I completely understand why they chose for the second act to just feel like a second act. And it was a beautiful second act, but there was so much they could have done. I almost wish they would have went with like a 4-act structure and played off the Illuminati a lot more. Because like Patrick Stewart was brilliant in this movie, but they could have had an epic astral battle where instead of her just sneaking up and ending him, they could have like fought as dragons or whatever. Like it's whatever they want to.
They were like, we don't have much time to work with here. We got a lot of heroes to kill.
Maybe, but that's all CGI.
Maybe it could just be one of those things of like, how do you get the point across about how powerful Wanda is? And it's like, you know what? People are familiar with these characters. They're familiar with how powerful they are. Let's make her kill them all in 5 minutes. So then you're like, shit, she's not fucking. So like, I do agree. I would have loved to have seen an awesome astral battle, but I think I can make the devil's advocate argument of being like, okay, but maybe they're just trying to be like, you think you know how powerful Wanda is right now? No, we're about to kill some of the most powerful beings that you have ever seen on screen.
I'd rate this movie as like probably a 9.0. I loved it that much. I'm only seeing things I wanted to see in it, not things I thought the movie was missing this. It didn't hurt the movie.
I forgot. It was so good, by the way. I forgot until like last week that I was expecting to see some sort of alternate Iron Man somewhere, like a cameo somewhere.
Like a superior. I will say, we talked about this. This movie at first was worrisome. Like, I don't think either of us worried about it, but there was a worry that there was going to be oversaturated with cameos. And after leaving, it kind of lacked on cameos.
But it was like a perfectly salted steak. Like, it's not too much. It was just the right amount, I think.
I think it could. I think it was a bit undersalted, if I'm being honest. I think they could have put, because like
some of us like beef flavor.
What cameos did we get? We got the Illuminati cameo.
We got John Krasinski, and I was not fucking expecting that.
But I mean, like, compared to some movies that we've had,
I feel like they were like, "Hey man, look, Tom Cruise is fucking expensive, so let's give him the one that they've been asking for a hot minute, not the one they think they're gonna get.
But like,
let's just give them the one they're asking for." John Krasinski, we get him on this for like what, 30,000?
I was surprised. I wonder if they reached out to the original Reed Richards first before they reached out to John.
I don't know.
Maybe.
They have confirmed that they were in talks with Tom Cruise about coming in, but they didn't confirm whether he actually came and filmed for that week that he left.
Yeah.
Like, we're pretty sure he came and filmed, but they haven't confirmed that. But
that's a lot.
I feel like we could have had a handful. Like, I think like maybe seeing a Deadpool off in like a corner of a universe or something. Like, I don't know. I just feel like
he's just sitting there eating a pizza ball as they're falling through something. He's just like, what?
Like, hell, we've gotten so many. There was Stan Lee with a bunch of Watchers in like a Guardians film when they were jumping through. Like, I don't know. I feel like I expected a whole hell of a lot more cameos. I'm glad we didn't get all of those, but I would have liked more than just because we got Black Bolt, Professor X, Peggy, John Krasinski as Reed Richards, even though he's been in the MCU since like 2018, and Maria Rambeau as Ms. Marvel, and Clea, Charlize Theron as Clea,
which I did not see that coming.
Yeah, that was
amazing.
That was fucking awesome. But
as a non-comic book guy, I have to say,
I
was just like, oh, cool, she's a great actress.
She's the current Sorcerer Supreme.
Let's get to Clea in a second. All right, can we come back? Because I just wanted to say about there were 6 chairs up there and the empty spot for Professor X.
We're missing
but
somebody.
We only got 5 total, so it's almost like we're missing 1 or 2. Either one of those chairs was for Doctor Strange.
I was gonna say maybe they just never filled it after Strange.
That makes sense. Mordo, that means that we're still missing 1.
Oh, that's a good point.
But Mordo had a chair because
then that means there was still an empty chair.
Did Mordo have a chair? There were 6 up there.
Or was he?
Did he ever sit down?
He was nervously walking the whole time.
So like there was Reed Richards. Oh yeah, it was Reed Richards, the Rambeau, Maria Rambeau, and there was a spot for Mordo, Professor X, Black Bolt, Peggy Carter, and then empty chair. And Josh had said something about it being Doctor Strange, and I had even said to him, I was like, because he's like, when I first watched it, I thought maybe it was for Doctor Strange, and I said, but if you recall, Doctor Strange even says, I bet you were glad because you could take this Doctor Strange's place. So it's evident that Mordo replaced Doctor Strange, including on the Illuminati. Unless he didn't, which means then we have 2 more spots to fill, which maybe would lead to a Namor spot.
Yeah.
But
And the writer-
why not put Namor in this movie when we already have the like?
Well, the writer has even said that Namor was in his original version, so he was planned to be in it. But they said they cut him out early on because of what they want to do with him for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So
maybe that was just an homage chair to Namor, where they're just like, there's supposed to be another person, but he's not here right now.
They asked him. He said, "I have no idea." He said,
he does. Okay.
He said, "I don't know why they still had the chair up there." He's like, "That's how I wrote it, but it's because of Namor. So I don't know why there was an empty chair."
So maybe they just made the conscious decision to be like, we know there's supposed to be a Namor there. We're just not going to worry about it for now.
Because he was in some of the early artwork when they were planning it.
Because like
Namor
that's
was.
before set design would have been made. So someone had to consciously make the decision and look at that room and be like, we're keeping all the chairs.
And for Professor X to park his ass in the middle, it makes sense to have 3 and 3 for symmetry.
Yeah.
But you need some kind of story to connect there. So it was weird.
I didn't even notice that.
But see, also you never see Mordo actually sit. He's always like walking. Yeah. So like it was always 2-2 and Professor X and then empty chairs. Well, we assume that one of them belongs to the Sorcerer Supreme at the time, either Doctor Strange or apparently Mordo. Mm-hmm. But it is possible that was Doctor Strange's seat and they didn't replace him with Mordo.
Well, wait, what?
It's possible that Mordo didn't take Doctor Strange's place on the Illuminati. He just took his place as Sorcerer Supreme.
So there's 2 empty chairs.
But the one empty chair would have been Doctor Strange's, but he's dead, and they just haven't filled the position.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, I'm a little shocked by. I was a little shocked by Peggy Carter being up there. I knew we were going to see her, but I will say I wasn't shocked by seeing Rambeau as Miss Marvel, because we had already predicted that it was going to be. Yeah. It could end up being Superior Iron Man, or it could be the mother or daughter, whichever one. Monica Rambeau, or what's the mom's name?
We filmed an episode of FanaticNOW at
Monica's
Stumpy,
daughter,
so the quality was low. But
yes.
But we did talk about. I thought it was Maria Rambeau based on some of the images we saw.
Yeah,
you just couldn't tell, but
because there was like 3 frames
that prediction
where
was right.
It was weird, like it almost changed every frame.
I thought John Krasinski would do it. I wasn't. It's not like I was 99% confident. I was more than 50% confident that
I
it
still
would be
wish
John
we'd got
Krasinski.
Denzel Washington as Black Panther.
I was going to say that. I was more than 50% confident in the Anson Mount, so I wasn't blown away that they were in it. I slightly predicted that they were in it.
I was just excited to see John Krasinski, but I wasn't like, holy shit, I didn't know this was going to happen.
Yeah. I kind of felt like he was going to be in it, and I feel like he's going to direct Fantastic Four now that John Watts.
Well, did you see that they there's a rumor that they're going after another person now? The director for Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett? I read something about that where she's currently one of the interests.
Oh, okay, because
Jon Favreau direct?
He directed like the first episodes and the last episodes, but there was other writers in the middle of the episodes, right?
I don't know.
Didn't he do the first and the last episode?
I think it's probably one of those things where there's like a head director and then there's just like extra people tacked on.
Are you talking about Opie's daughter? What's her name? Opie from the Andy Griffith.
I know who you're talking about.
Ron Howard. His daughter.
She's
a great director.
Yeah, she's
Dallas Howard.
Dallas Bryce Howard.
Yep. Good job. You pulled that out of your ass, dude.
I
mean, you were Dallas Bryce Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
God.
Wait, really?
It's Bryce Dallas Howard.
I was so close.
I liked it the other way. She should change it.
But
just read name tags all day.
She was also the girl who did who's the female lead in the Jurassic World series.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But she I saw somewhere, I read something, and obviously it could just be like a theory. Like it's probably just speculation at this point, but somebody said that they were looking at maybe having her direct the Fantastic Four movie.
Well, she's a fantastic director.
I'm just saying, I kind of want John Krasinski to be Reed Richard, and I kind of want him to direct this film. Yeah. I think she's awesome, and she should direct a Marvel film because she is brilliant, but I think I would really like John Krasinski because that would also convince him and possibly convince Emily Blunt to be in it.
I am a huge fan of Quiet Place. I think he did such a good job.
Yeah, Quiet Place is one of probably my favorite like horror movies.
Low
it's so
budget,
beautifully done.
And yet the mix of practical effects and CGI is seamless. You never once during that movie get pulled out and say,
It looks
you can
very
tell.
real.
Yeah,
Like,
and it was cheaply made.
It looks really well done.
He made it on a low budget, and it's so good. And the best part about him is his storytelling. You get into those characters immediately. That whole family. I care about everybody in that family 5 minutes into the movie. That's hard to do, especially with me. I don't care about people a whole lot. So when a director-writer combo can get me into caring about everybody in the movie in 5 minutes, I'm like, damn, that's good directing.
And I feel like that's one of the things. If I were to recommend rating or reviewing movies, that's the question you should ask yourself at the end of a movie: is, do I feel attached to the characters? Because
that's good storytelling.
If you were not attached to the characters, then the storytelling was not good enough, and that means that it's not a good story. That doesn't affect the movie. Like The Purge, I'm not attached to anybody in The Purge, but I know what I'm getting into. So it's a fun movie, but it doesn't make it if you're wanting to rate a movie at like an 8.5 or higher, it's got to have a good story.
Yeah.
And I feel like that whole, can you connect and feel passion towards a character? And if you can, then that puts it in a higher rating.
Yeah. And we don't have a lot to base off from. That's only 2 movies that he's done that I've seen like that, but still, it was so perfectly done.
And if he could do that with such a low budget, imagine what he could do with a multi-million dollar
Disney budget. Ugh. I want to see it.
And and the whole point is you hadn't said this, but I'm just repeating what you've told me before, is we need a storyteller for the Fantastic Four. Because the Fantastic Four is the first family. They are the most important to Marvel because the whole of Marvel as it exists today wouldn't exist without the Fantastic Four. So we need a story.
Yep. They're the first family. They're so important, and they've never been done by a good storyteller.
What was so bad about the first one? The first Fantastic Four movie.
It wasn't a good storyteller.
It came out when I was a kid, so like
wasn't good story.
Rose-colored glasses here.
Wasn't quite good acting. The CGI wasn't great. The practical effects weren't great.
He did look like he was running around in a foam suit. Ben Grimm, whatever that guy's name is from The Shield.
I think I would say it's fun.
Michael Chiklis.
He did everything he could to make that part.
Right?
Yeah. He did everything he could, and it still was.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun movie.
Chris
if I have to
Evans.
choose one, it's better than the remake, but yeah.
Oh, it's so much.
Yeah.
The remake, this sounds harsh. I swear to God, I was so annoyed with how bad it was, I got nauseous.
It's so
Like,
bad.
I was like, this is so... Why?
It's
Who
so
let this
bad.
happen?
It's so bad that the director went to the major online places to leave reviews and left a negative review about the movie, and then towards the bottom apologized and said nobody should have to see a movie that bad. He apologized for how bad the movie was. Directors never apologize for how bad their movies are. He lost full control of that set. He got in a fist fight with Mr. Fantastic.
Miles Teller?
Yeah.
Really? Is Miles Teller an asshole?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's a great
Great
actor.
actor.
He's a great actor. They
I feel like
usually
Nobody
are.
likes working with him.
I feel like he's like
Maybe he takes himself too seriously.
I feel like he's one of those like method actor assholes where you're like he's a fucking asshole, but it's because like he gets so immersed in roles and like he like gets so into the character that he's like, I need to be in control because no one's gonna know the character as good as I do.
Whiplash is so good.
Him and Tom Cruise, I wonder how they were with Top Gun. Like, I wonder if they butted heads at all. Well, probably not because Miles Teller's still alive. So
yeah.
Or is he?
Dude, I'm so
Could
ready
be
for
a
that
clone.
movie. We don't need to go down that tangent, but I'm so ready for that movie.
It looks good.
It looks
I actually
so
just watched
good.
the first one like recently, and I was like, because I'd never seen it before. No, I watched it and I was like, it was good, but it definitely it's got an 80s movie feel. It was so, because of what I'm used to in movies now, I was like, oh, I mean, the stakes were kind of, they were kind of low. Low stakes, really.
The stakes were really low.
Yeah, the stakes were kind of low. They were just going to die. I mean, like, there wasn't like an alien trying to kill everyone.
They did over 800.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I mean, what's the big deal? They're flying a jet.
Like, fuck, Independence Day at least had aliens.
Yeah, Independence Day had some real stakes, I tell you.
They did over 800 hours of aerial filming with like was it 8K or IMAX level type of cameras, aerial on real fighter pilot jets. Like
Tom Cruise is fucking crazy.
he actually learned, like he actually flies helicopters in it where he's the actual pilot. There's no stunt guy doing it. He's hanging outside of
What the
planes.
fuck? What's the insurance policy when he steps on the set? Like what?
Yeah.
What the? I mean, he just when
Who
he just
allows somebody of that level to say, "I'm going to get on a jet,"
'Cause, like,
on the outside.
they're like you
half
can't
the
even
time-
you can't even write his name on the script or on anything without this insurance policy.
Because like normally big studios, especially when you're older, push for you to
billions.
push for you to not do. They're like I think the
they don't want you
MCU
to-
is a great example with Robert Downey Jr. I think he did a couple of his own stunts in the first movie, but by the third movie in Endgame, they were like, you're
No,
like,
sir, you're
the
worth way too much.
They didn't want Tom Holland. Tom Holland does a lot of his own stunts,
does
and
a lot.
even they're like, you shouldn't be doing these, and he's like, I love doing them. They're fun. I want to do them, and they're like, okay, well, you need to make sure that you take care of yourself because
Go train with the stunt guys.
You are millions.
He's trained his whole life, though.
Right,
He's
I know.
danced.
But like, we want you to train, like, just to make us feel better. Train with the stunt guys all the time.
So did Jackie Chan, but motherfucker broke his fucking ankle jumping onto that boat.
He broke his he like fucking fractured his skull, like not open, but like
he's
he
at
had
least
like
broken something in I think almost every
it might have
movie
been
he's
his
done.
back. It might have been his back, and then he kept going. Like I don't know. There was like he almost really fucked himself up.
So I have a curious thing that I want to bring up.
Yeah, and you got 10 minutes where you guys skedaddle, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the shortest nerd stuff ever.
Do we have anything we want to talk about more about?
Yeah, the
Multiverse
main
of
thing we need to talk about.
Okay.
Clea and incursions.
Yes. So
gotta
about
talk
Secret
about
Wars. Yeah,
Incursions make me sad.
I was going to bring up Avatar: The Way of the Water.
Everything that we were like, oh man, the multiverse is open, and it's like, nah, not quite. You know, you can't really. We can like see them every now and then, but
it's like pollution on Earth. It has a way of fixing itself. You treat it so bad, and it's going to collapse on itself.
Yeah, but incursions kind of like everything is just. Like, well, now we can't just have Toby and Andrew just like in our universe for a while, like ever.
And see,
because it'll fuck shit up.
Incursions bring up an interesting issue that we have moving forward, especially with bringing characters over. That's why I've been trying to work out ways that characters have always existed, like the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four existing in our universe already, or about to be created.
I touched my head and there was a sticker on my hand. I'm sorry. Is there a sticker on my head?
No.
Okay. I just thought I lost it on my head.
Anyway.
I'm sorry.
It works with Josh's theory too, where the Fantastic Four are from modern times. It works with mine from the 60s, trying to figure out how to bring the X-Men in because incursions fuck a lot of shit up. And it's one of those things that it's hard to come back from almost.
Right. So the thing that I hate about it, but the reason that I just looked like I had a seizure a moment ago, I realized Marvel knew that we all thought, like when No Way Home happened, Marvel knew exactly what we were all thinking. Like this is opened up, like the metaphor that Bryton gave. I think it was Bryton. Could have been me. I mean, really, let's be honest. The highway opening up. It was Bryton.
That was me.
I know. It was a
me.
joke. I was
I'm sure
joking.
you
Jesus Christ. No, I haven't.
Sitting there with Skylar, I really think we're on a back road.
No.
I think Marvel movies are like the new comics.
I still don't remember you saying that, but I do believe you. No. For real, I was joking just then. But that highway thing, that's what we thought was going to happen, right? And then this movie happens. We think we're going to get all this stuff, and then they're like, no, that's not how it works. Incursions happen and shit. And
I still think it sets up for it, but yeah.
But we're not gonna, like, when we were looking in the sky during the multiverse, thing cracking open, we were like, oh man, we might get Craven, we might get all these like characters that we're seeing. I'm like, nah, they can't come here. I mean, they can, but like they can't continue with that storyline based on the rules they gave us in this one.
Right.
They can't do that. Otherwise, they're gonna just destroy everything. Or have to be like, actually, we were wrong.
I felt like this movie was more saying that when you play with the Darkhold level shit, it's going to cause an incursion.
Yeah, I don't know. Because normally incursions...
Strange was dreamwalking all over the place. That's what caused the incursion.
Well, It never says that Doctor Strange created the incursion. It just says an incursion has occurred, and I need your help.
No. We're talking about Supreme Strange causing the incursion. That's why they killed him.
Okay.
That Strange
He
caused an
used the
incursion by
Darkhold
just dream walking.
to take out Thanos by himself.
He didn't cause an incursion. He just thought he would.
No, he did. He destroyed an entire world.
No, not
That's
wait.
different.
That's a different
That's
one.
a different
thought-
Strange.
Are you talking about the one from Earth 838?
Yes, I thought
No.
Krasinski said
No, 838 said he
about-
used the Darkhold to dreamwalk.
like it got
and
out of
he
hand
realized,
or something.
No, he realized that every Strange is the real problem because he saw another version of himself destroy the world. And so he said, it is best for you to kill me now because I will become the problem in the future. So Doctor Strange did nothing wrong in that universe except for ask them to kill him because he knew that he was going to eventually be the problem.
I don't remember all
I
of
don't
that.
remember that.
Or
I thought he
I've
really
only
did.
seen
I
it
thought he did
once.
some fucked up shit.
I've only seen it once too. I
I've
just
seen it
remember.
twice.
I remember for a fact.
Reed Richards said we figured out that Doctor Strange is the problem.
Yes,
He said clearly.
Look, I normally don't go. I'm pretty positive here.
Christine,
He could have destroyed another. He could have, as he was dreamwalking, destroyed another Earth. I'm just saying he didn't cause an incursion. He knew that Doctor Stranges were the problem in the equation. He knew that he'd eventually be taken hold by the Darkhold.
I thought he destroyed a universe.
The Strange that
I know that there was a Strange
he gets in a fight with musical notes.
that one
Badass
destroyed
scene, by the
universes.
way.
Yeah, that's
Right.
That
one
guy
of
caused an incursion.
the most epic scenes of
Right?
that show. Yeah, he's
He
the one
caused an incursion.
because that's what had
That's
happened to that Earth.
Yeah.
That Earth was going under. That universe was going under an incursion. That's why everything it had like even they said when they got there, it looks like there's things trying to be on top of other things. That's an incursion.
So, what were you talking about? We went on a tangent.
Anyway, it's important to talk about incursions and what it's going to mean for the future of the MCU and what it can mean for us because it seems odd because we've basically been told that if people jump over, it'll start to cause incursions when you start to bring people over.
Right.
That can cause incursions.
Right.
So predictions.
But it's interesting about it. America is the exception because there's only one America, so she can jump between universes, but it makes it clear that we probably won't get other people from other universes. Therefore, the X-Men have to exist on our world or we don't get the X-Men.
Right. What I was saying.
Or the X-Men come over and they create the incursion that starts the Secret Wars, the whole Secret Wars event, which would be nice because they are
Why do we
important for
need
the
an
X-Men.
incursion for Secret Wars to happen?
It's
Why
just
do we,
part
why
of
do we need an
We
incursion?
don't need it. It's just that's the jump. That's the jump point.
You don't for
the
1984
2015
Secret
one.
Wars, but for 2015, they were important.
Okay.
But they probably will end up taking heavily from the 15 one.
I think so,
But they'll
too.
have influences from the 84
Yeah,
one
that's
most
my
likely.
prediction.
But that means that that'll come from an incursion. Which my main theory is the fact of X-Men. The X-Men animated universe will collapse into the 616 universe, creating an incursion, which will jumpstart the Secret Wars. And then that way you can also still have a Logan that's existed for years, just not on this Earth. And he's like, oh yeah, I've been through, like I was in Vietnam in our Earth. Like we dealt with like we dealt with all of these problems that are very similar to yours just on our Earth.
Yeah, so in the 838, I'm assuming because Wanda never had to, like, there was never Ultron never went evil, so there was never a need for a Vision to be built.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ultron bots are there working for good. Like, Ultron never fucked up the 838, I feel like.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, for future, Wanda just signed a 7-year deal. So, Elizabeth Olsen signed a 7-year
contract,
deal.
yeah.
Hang on. I want to back up to something you just said. The Ultron thing. Ultron didn't start, and now I'm regurgitating some shit from a video I watched, just so we're clear. Ultron, if I'm not mistaken, based on this video, didn't start making his sentries until after Vision's body was stolen and stuff. Then he started making sentries. Isn't that right?
But that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you can have Ultron, because those Ultron bots that we see are based off of Tony's Ultron bots, not the Ultron's army.
Okay.
They're based off of, because they have a different structure, like facial structure, than the Ultron bots that Ultron creates in Age of Ultron. They're more similar to the bots that are created by Tony Stark. You don't need Ultron to create the Ultron bots. You just need the program Ultron.
In 838, in this 838 universe, Wanda has her kids. The guy who plays Vision has confirmed that they can have sex and they can have kids because Vision has human DNA from the lady with the blood when he was created. So Vision has to exist in 838 in some capacity.
Actually,
hang on, because the kids. Hold on. Well, let me flesh this out. Why
I
not?
don't think so.
But the kids are the same. Like
that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because she didn't use Vision's semen DNA to create those kids.
She looked into another universe and saw those kids and created them in 616.
Right. What I'm saying is
in some
8-3
universe, Scarlet Witch has kids. She pulled basically them and recreated a version for herself in the WandaVision town.
So
okay.
They could be Vision's kids, and they could have gone through the whole Age of Ultron thing.
That's what I was getting at. Is like that's what this person was saying was like, we know that these Ultron bots, like Vision has to exist in this universe because of the kids, and because Vision exists, that means these Ultron bots. Like we had the same origin story for this Wanda.
But see, it's
like
very,
this Wanda has the same origin story, and that's why she has powers.
It's very well. She's gonna have power. They're all gonna have powers because Wanda's a Nexus being. So all Wandas are basically the same across the universe. They all have the same power set. They all have all the abilities.
But they
all
haven't
look
been through
the same. They just haven't been through the same things.
Okay.
And
but this one has because she was under Sokovian rubble, trapped in her brain. It looked like Sokovian rubble.
Which one?
When Professor X went inside of 838's head, she was in Sokovian rubble. So,
but that was 838's body, not mind.
That was 838. She was trapped inside of her own mind.
Side note, hey, real quick, but that was from when she was a child. So she was still blown up by Stark bombs. That doesn't mean Ultron had to exist. That's the difference. She still had the same traumatizing youth.
That just means Stark was making bombs.
It just means that Stark was making bombs there like they were making it in ours. So she was just reflecting on being a child again and being trapped. So that still happens the same, but that doesn't imply that Ultron has to exist.
But also when she was dreamwalking, that's 838's body, not mind.
But Professor X was trying to. Wanda was the red cloud.
Oh, you're talking about because 838's mind was.
Yeah,
he was trying to help her get out of Wanda's control.
Okay. And it was Sokovian. It was Sokovian rubble, and that just makes me.
You're right.
Yeah,
I misunderstood.
But that doesn't necessarily mean there has to be an Ultron or a Vision.
Yeah, I feel you.
But for Elizabeth Olsen to sign a new contract means that she's got something important going on because they're not going to downplay her going forward. So we know that she survived this. I think that there's a good chance that leading to Secret Wars being the next endgame type of like capstone for time periods, we've got to learn Doctor Doom before then because I think Doctor Doom will have an important play on this. And also she needs a redemption arc at some point. So we know Marvel's not going to purposely just end the MCU. So we know that Secret Wars, spoiler alert, they're going to figure out a way to save Earth. You know, we know that's got to be the outcome. So I think we're going to build up more and more Kang fighting. It's going to be Kang galore every which way as far as like different Kangs popping up. Once Quantumania is over, I feel like there's going to be multiple versions of Kang. Doctor Doom will probably play on maybe even working with Scarlet Witch to try to save this Earth because Doctor Doom will do anything to save Earth because he thinks that this Earth is such a precious planet and point in the universe that only he is worthy of ruling it.
Yeah.
So he takes care of Earth first and foremost. So I feel like we could get a story arc somewhere 3 or 4 years from now where him and Wanda almost work together to try to save things, which then leads into him having his turn bad or whatever with Secret Wars.
Do you ever sit back and worry that it might be too much to like...
Hasn't been so far.
But does it cross your mind? Just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
It might be
Yeah,
too
like,
much to
it's a
put all
delicate-
of this
It's
stuff
a delicate line.
in a movie context. In the comic
con-
book context, it works. We buy it.
There
how
are times that I
simple.
like. I think of a theory, and then I'm like it does. There are moments that, especially like when we were trying to come up with theories and think about the future and stuff like that, it's almost overwhelming to think like, but how are they going to do it all in this? But then you start thinking about the fact that it doesn't all have to be one movie. It doesn't have to be a movie. It can be a TV show.
Yeah,
That's true.
Like
it shows in multiple movies a year.
like
And-
that. I think that helps add some relief.
When we think about it, because we have the comic book knowledge and we're trying to like propagate where things are going to grow and blossom, we talk about theories in so many different directions. Marvel has for 14 years kept it simple. It's been beautifully written, and in a way we're like, oh, but it's always been simple. It's always like a root structure that goes every which way of our theories, and then when it actually happens, it's just the taproot. So, I mean, they kind of stay simple.
Yeah. Well, Bryton, I know you have to go.
Yeah.
So, real quick, as quick as you can, overall rating, go.
9.0.
9.2.
I'm going to give it a 9.5. We are out of here. Make sure you follow Small Stuff Podcast on all social media platforms. Do what?
Comics don't have a 9.5.
Yeah, there's no 9.5.
It's 9.0, 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, 9.8.
Whatever. I don't care.
So is it a 9.4 or 9.6?
It's a 9.4.
Oh wow, really conceded that point.
I was just giving it a 9 point, like a 9.5. It's a 9.5.
It's probably a 9.2.
Just
So-
follow us on everything. All the links are in the description and show notes. We'll see you next time.